What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Trivia Blam. This is episode 5. I'm Professor Blam. Uh, we got a set of some random questions, some science questions, maybe a mix of both, maybe a mix of neither. We'll see what happens. I also have no clue how many questions we're asking in this round because if you tune in last time, we completely changed up the way we do things. Um, we have a spinner wheel with 8, 13, and 21 questions on it. Spin that determines how many questions we have. And then we have another spinner wheel that we do before each question, and that determines the amount of points that you can receive or lose based on your answer for that question. So let's get this going. We will have, and if you don't know why I chose these numbers, it's because they're on the Fibonacci sequence. 5 is not enough, 34 is too many. And 8 right now is how many we will have for this round. So it will be a shorter round. Last round we had 21. This round we have 8. So, you know, not too bad, not too bad. All right, let's see. We're going to start off with a non-science question, a fun question for most of you out there. Question 1. And this will be for uh, ooh, a banger right out the gate. 144 points. Let's shuffle those baddies up. So for 144 points, question 1. In the Harry Potter series, what is the name of the village where Harry was born? In the Harry Potter series, what is the name of the village where Harry was born? This is definitely not one that I would have known. I love Harry Potter, absolutely fabulous. Kudos to J.K. Rowling for putting out the hit of the century, but not one that I would have known. I haven't even read the books. I might have read, I think I read, I read Prisoner of Azkaban. That's the only one I read. But for you, uh, potheads out there, Potterheads, whatever you call yourselves, you probably know this one. So, question 1. In the Harry Potter series, what is the name of the village where Harry was born? That would be Godric's Hollow. So, if you got that right, give yourself 144 points. If you got it wrong, you're pretty far back right out the gate with negative 144. Moving on, question 2 is going to be worth a mere 1 point. Mm, not too bad, not too bad. All right, so you're not going to lose a lot for answering this one incorrectly. However, you're not going to make up much ground if you do answer it incorrectly. So, and where was I lost my place. Ah, yes, this one. Beautiful question. Beautiful question. Question 2 for 1 point. Which company originally developed the Java programming language? And if you're on my wavelength, on my frequency, then you know exactly what game Java produced or was produced in the language of Java. So, which company originally developed the Java programming language? It created the greatest game of all time. Um, I should honestly do an entire episode of RuneScape trivia because it is I absolutely love RuneScape. And I think I'm gonna do that. I think I excuse moi. It might not be the next episode, but I'm definitely gonna do an episode of just RuneScape trivia. All right, but moving on. This is not that episode. Question 2, which company originally developed the Java programming language? That would be Sun Microsystems. Shout out to Sun Microsystems for creating the created greatest programming language of all time, and paving the way for Jagex to create the greatest MMO of all time. All right, question three. I've got a decent slot of questions out here. Ba-da-da-da, skilly-beep-bop-boo, diddly-dee. I know which one we're doing. All right, this one is for 13 points. We'll shuffle up those baddies again. All right, this is for 13 points. Question three. Which Greek god is known as the messenger of the gods? All right. Which Greek god is known as the messenger of the gods? I don't know if this is relevant. I know very brief. I have very surface level knowledge of the Greek gods, um, and not even all of them, just some of them. But if you didn't know, the origin of marathon was a man sent a message, and he had to run barefoot 26.2 miles to the town of Marathon, and he ended up dying when he got there. So if you don't die after running a marathon, then I guess you're already better than the original. Yeah, okay, so question three. Which Greek god is known as the messenger of the gods? That would be Hermes. Hermes, if you got that correct, give yourself 13 points. If you did not get that correct, take away 13 points. Ooh. Mm. Okay, interesting indeed. I'll do this one. Yes. Will I? I don't believe. Perhaps. Indeed, we will. Yes, we'll do this one. Okay, question four for 55 points. All right, 55 points. Where is it? Who was the first person to reach the South Pole? This is definitely not a common knowledge question. This is much harder. Um, and obviously, my points do not are not connected at all to the difficulty of the question. Uh, but yeah, if this is not a actually, I give you a hint. I believe this guy has the same first name as the man who wrote James and the Giant Peach. So I will actually uh, I will actually yes, yes, yes. That'll be the next question, actually. And obviously, you'll know at least the first name, so you'll have to only get the last name for that one. But the connection is too good to not do it. So, anyway, question four. Who was the first person to reach the South Pole? That would be Roald Amundsen. Roald Amundsen. If you got that, that would be 55 points. If you got it wrong, take away 55. Now, if you did get the first question wrong, this is not your round points wise yet. You're still highly in the negatives, even if you've gotten the others correct. And of course, if you've gotten the first one correct and gotten the other ones wrong, you were probably in the lead if your comrades have done the opposite. All right, question five is worth 2 points, and you already know what it is, right? Question five, what is the name of the author for James and the Giant Peach? From a book, yes, it was a book before it was a movie. Weirdly interesting movie. Creepy, of course. At least what I remember, but maybe I'm remembering it incorrectly. IDK. But yes, for 2 points. So I'm honestly not even sure if we're gonna. be able to break even if you got that first question wrong. All right. Question five, who's the author of James and the Giant Peach? That'd be Roald Dahl. Roald Dahl. All right. Question six. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got here. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll do this one. Haha. All right. This one is worth 3 points. So, question six, we're 3 points. We're still not even cracking anywhere close to breaking even if you got the first one wrong. All right. Question six, which gas makes up approximately 78% of the Earth's atmosphere? Which gas makes up approximately 78% of the Earth's atmosphere? I can tell you there's a lot of gases that combine to make up the Earth's atmosphere. And it might or might not be what you think. All right. But the nitty-gritty of it, question six for, I believe, 3 points. Maybe I don't recall quite. I believe it's three. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Okay. Well, anyway, you go go back to whatever. Question six, which gas makes up approximately 78% of the Earth's atmosphere? That would be nitrogen. Nitrogen. All right. I mean, after time and time again of hearing this, over the years, knew that it was nitrogen, but based on everything forever, you would think that it's going to be oxygen, you know? You would think that, but indeed, tis not. Tis not correct. Anyway, question seven is worth 13 points. Oof. Excuse me. Question seven is worth 13 points. All right. Okay, here's an interesting one. What is the original language that the New Testament was written in? And I want it to be more specific. All right, this is a 13-point question. If you get this partially correct, you can take half points, but to get the full points, you need to get the full thing correct. And obviously, if you get half of it, yeah. Um, but anyway, so question seven for 13 points. What is the original language that the New Testament was written in? I actually started trying to learn this language, not speaking it. It's terribly difficult, but to read and write it, um, and I was learning it by translating the first ever joke book. And I got to tell you, they are very, how do I put this, dry jokes. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a cool language, but anyway, question seven, the language that the New Testament was originally written in, Koine Greek. Koine Greek. If you only said Greek, give yourself 7 points. Okay. If you said Koine Greek, you get all 13. And obviously, if you got neither one of those correct, take away 13. But yeah, we're still not even racking up to 144 yet. Maybe this eighth and final question will give us a banger amount. But indeed, it did not. It gave us 1 point. This question is worth 1 point. That is honestly pitiful to say the least. But this question will be fun. All right, question 8. In a standard deck of cards, which king is the only one without a mustache? In a standard deck of cards, which king is the only one without a mustache? All right, if you have a deck of cards on hand, or you're a magician, or a dealer, or someone who just knows weird facts about decks of cards, then you know what, good for you for this question. Sorry, it's only worth 1 point. But interesting enough, you would think that all of the characters would be mostly uniform, but in fact, it seems they're only 75% uniform. Hoo, hoo. All right. Question 8. For 1 point, in a standard deck of cards, which king is the only one without a mustache? That would be the King of Hearts. King of Hearts. All right. Here's an interesting factoid. You could have gone 7 questions correct, 1 question incorrect. But if you got that first question incorrect, then you definitely 100% ended up with negative points. I'm sorry to say, but that is the way the cookie crumbles. So if you only got the first question correct and you're playing with people that got the first question incorrect, then you won. Yeah, my trivia game is quite interesting. Not the same. It's not about how many questions you get correct, it's about which questions you get correct. But tally it up, count your scores, do your thing with your friends. You know, yeah, we'll be back again. Um, but I mean that's pretty much it. I don't really know how I should end this, I guess. Um, yeah, if you want to buy me a cup of coffee, keep this bad boy going and grooving, sure, by all means. The link is down in the description. I'm also an author. Those books are down there in the description. Buy them, don't buy them. All up to you. You know, no sweat either way. Um, and then, of course, just have a fabulous day. Fabulous day. Thank you for joining me. I would love you to rate this trivia podcast. Um, Follow it, subscribe, depending on the medium that you're listening through. But yeah, I'm Professor Blam, aka Mr. Richard, and this has been Trivia Blam. So, catch you next time. Ta ta, kittens.